Hey guys, Rock and Roll here with something a little bit different today. While I was on holiday, a good friend of mine called Tempest, shout out to him as I'm sure he's probably watching, sent me an email with a document containing various ideas he has for Hero Colosseum. So I decided to look over these and give my opinions on sort of what. Now, I haven't seen any of this yet. The screen you're looking at now, that's all I've seen. I was waiting until I got back from holiday to do this, so yeah, this first time watching it, I'm going to go through, give my opinion, see if I agree or not, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. I just want to say once again, he's a great player, good friend of mine, so a lot of respect for him, and let's get into it. So, Custom Hero Colosseum figures. So this is an interesting start. All stats are level 99 with no combos, so no additionals in. All figures are URs unless specified otherwise. So, I will admit, looking at it already, he has gone into far more detail than I was planning to do for figures I'd like and adding them. So you've got who it is, their pose, super attack and ultimate attack, as well as stats and the posing skill. So this is quite interesting. I certainly wouldn't have looked to go to these. I possibly wouldn't even look to have gone for such specific stat values, because that's pretty damn interesting. But these are level 99. So I'm going to ignore the pose, super attack, ultimate attack. I'll talk about the stats for some of them, I suppose. So 6'8 and 2'9 when you're looking at the attack and speed on this one. Let's look at his posing skill before we go into it. So the hero's brother. Place on a trigger square for 500 to own attack and 250 attack to all allies. Place after turn 3 for an additional plus 10, presumably percent, to damage dealt and minus 10% to damage taken, repeatable. Trigger squares top right and bottom left. Okay, so this is very similar to original Super Saiyan Goku, who basically had this part of the posing skill, but not this. Seems interesting. You're competing for a few other roles with an ability like that. I think Broly is a good example, the original Broly figures. They're a bit better than that, but their stats are a bit different, and so is the first half of their ability. So, I'm just trying to figure out 500 to own attack, 250 to... I don't know if these stats are strange in a way. This side makes a bit more sense. That seems a bit more common for ones with that sort of attack. That's putting me more towards the range of Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, I believe, without extras into him. Just with a little less health and a bit more speed, I think. Interesting posing skill. Be nice to have a Raditz figure in there that's a UR. I don't know if that's really going to make him that viable. Buffing his own attack by 500 is nice and 250 to allies, but when you've got stuff like the original Bardock figure lying around still, Godku to a degree as well, I don't know, it's a bit of a half and half, because you kind of want to put him down early to start buffing your allies, but at the same time you want him available later for this. Could be interesting. Certainly a lot better than some of the crap that we've gotten recently. So on to the next one, which is Nappa, who has, funnily enough, I think that's a near enough the same HP as his current N figure has, which is interesting. Hot-headed Brawler. Place on triggers for 500 to own attack. Place on turn 3 for an additional 700 to own attack and 500 to own defense, that turn early. Place on or after turn 3 to directly attack the master. Trigger squares top left, bottom middle, and presuming that's a possible top right as well. Interesting. 7,300 ability to directly attack the master from turn 3, with a good speed stat as well. This version certainly has a lot of potential. This one does as well, but the main part of it seems to be that you want him after turn 3 to start placing him. Because then, I mean, you're hitting for 8,500 without any dupes. So that one I certainly think could have a place. That one maybe okay. I think he's probably a bit too fast for this one to be viable, but certainly this one I think could be quite a viable figure. Raccoon. Cool. Ginyu Force figures. We definitely need a new set of Ginyu Force figures. Much like in Dokkan, they have URs. We definitely need some UR Ginyu Force figures. So, Ginyu Force Powerhouse. Place on a trigger square for 5% to own damage dealt, plus 300 to own defense, and restore 30% to own HP at the end of the turn. So, keeping sort of quite a major part of his current one from the N figure. When Captain Ginyu is on the field, 500 to all stats, repeatable. Okay, I like that. It's good making the Ginyu Force viable, and it is, again, this is actually following on from the N figure quite well. He's got huge attack, or huge HP on this one. And a decent spread of stats. 500 to all stats repeatable. That is quite a significant buff. We'll have to see what Ginyu looks like. But I'm presuming you'd use the Ginyu Force as a 5, wouldn't you? So, as a 5, it sounds like it would work quite well. Buffing all three of his stats by 500 each turn is going to be insane. Plus he's buffing his own defense and restoring HP. Raccoon would be a damn good tank in this, and quite a heavy hitter as well with that figure. Also he procs in center, top, back left, and back right potentially. I'm guessing that's what brackets are. Right, Captain Ginyu. So, placing triggers with 500 to own attack and 350 to own defense. Okay, that's a standard, a pretty standard buff. When an ultimate attack is activated, place to swap the HP of both masters, but greatly reduces damage of the ultimate attack. Once an ultimate attack has been used, the figure can no longer perform one for the duration of the battle. It's top center. Okay, that's interesting. That's a lot going on in that ability, and it's very strange to swap the HP of both masters, but greatly reduces the damage of the ultimate attack. Okay, I get it. So, basically, reduces the damage of the ultimate attack to like 100, because I think that's what it does for Toa and a couple of others, doesn't it? But you swap the HP of both masters. Quite a risky one to use, but could be very dangerous. Ginyu seems to have quite unimpressive stats, really. But I suppose that's compensated by Raccoon here, having quite good stats. I wonder if there's more Ginyus later on. I'd certainly like to see a Goldo, Jace, and Berta in there as well. But yeah, front, middle, that's not bad. Again, it's a case of have to see what the whole team would look like. Ah, yeah, Tapion, nice. Pose something badass, I guess. Okay, I like that already. HP, interesting stats. Let's look at his skill. Place on trigger score 500 to own attack, 350 to own defense. Restore 10 HP to all allies in the field. That's nice. Solid ability. Place on trigger square when alone to restore 20% HP to all allies at end of the turn. Repeatable. Plus 2,000 to your master's defense. And 1.5 to all stats. Stacks during that turn only. Okay. So that would be pretty insane. That figure is pretty much forgotten about already. This is the one we're all interested in with that second half of your ability. 1.5 to all of your stats. That means that you've already got 5,400 speed. Sitting there. You've got 12,000 attack. And you've got shit defense regardless. Tapion becomes the hardest hitter in the game, and that's ridiculously hard hitting. And that's without having anybody buffing him up prior to that. That is pretty insane. I think this version is a bit too powerful, and this version will just get completely ignored because what the hell does it actually add? You'd have that one mainly for this half of his ability. Possibly having frontline as a tank because he's center mid. Very powerful, possibly a little too powerful, I think. Drop that down from 1.5, that seems a bit too much of a multiplier to his stats, personally, in my opinion. Right, Nail is up next. So, trigger square for 10% to own damage dealt and 350 to own defense, repeatable. Placed when Piccolo is on the field for 500 to all stats during that turn only. Placed for minus 20% damage taken by your master, stats during that turn only. Interesting, although I have to question why placing him with Piccolo is really that sort of good. I understand he sort of works with Piccolo, that makes sense, but I mean, your master's taking no damage at all anyway, unless they have a Beerus or something. And 500 to all your stats for one turn is really not that impressive. And his stats are okay, I suppose. That's quite a nasty one, actually, because his defense combined with a decent health and okay attack. Yeah, okay, this side of Nail could actually see some play, but he doesn't really have much of an opposing skill. You've got that, which isn't bad, but that's it, really. Top left trigger square. Interesting, although he could do with a bit more to him, because I think having him reliant on Piccolo. I like having figures that are reliant on another one on the field, but I don't know if that's quite hit the nail on the head. Let's get it, nail. I'm so clever. Oh, he triggers him back right as well. Oh wait, hang on. Piccolo, no cape. Proud of Namekian. Place on trigger square for 250 to all stats to self and figure in the same column. Also plus 500 to all stats if Nail is on the field. Stacks during that turn only. Okay. Could you have put that first? You've made me look like a fool, Free Tempest. Okay, so these two figures have been designed to work with one another. So we've got Piccolo with no cape. Obviously back left, top right to go with Nail. Solid stats. Interesting to have that sort of lineup. It's kind of reminding me of Ribrian, and that's not a good thing. That, again, we've got... I think we've both, again, got... You know, that's decent combo, having those two there. That's quite speedy and decently damaging, but you can't argue with the defense and damage output that you get from having these two on. So plus 250 to all stats to self. So they're both getting plus 750 to their stats. That's pretty insane if you combine those two. But that's... Free Tempest is right here, hit the nail on the head actually. And I've used the same pun again. Unintentionally really, but this is what I want to see from more figures, where they interact with one another. And he's actually... You've got that completely right there, Free Tempest. I take it back what I said about Nail. You've got it perfectly there. Those two epitomise everything I've always said about having figures interacting with one another on the board. That's brilliant. I love those two. I love this combo. This is brilliant. Best figures so far. Right, next, Gohan Potential Unleashed. We do need a Gohan Potential Unleashed UR figure. That is without a doubt. So... Posing skill, Margin Destroyer. Place on a trigger square for 5% to own damage dealt and 10% to damage taken by all opponents on the field. Place when Margin Buu is on the field for 1000 to attack and speed, stacks during that turn only. Okay, 5 to all to damage dealt and damage taken by all opponents. That's quite nasty. Don't know if this side... bulky. Very bulky. But you got 7,500 attack right there. I don't think you can really ignore that figure. I think both would have use. Place when Majin Buu is on the field for 1000 to own attack and speed. Does that... That's an interesting ability in the fact that... Does that just trigger on my Majin Buu? Or is it my opponent's Majin Buu? Does it also apply to different kinds of Buu? Is it just Fat Buu? Or is it Super Buu? That would be an interesting thing to know, because you could really just sort of buff yourself up by having certain margin figures. That's interesting. I like it. I don't like how dependent it is, though, on having a Majin Buu, especially if it's reliant on your opponent having Majin Buu, because if that's the case, then it's a very, very situational figure. But I'd love to see a UR Gohan, even if it wasn't top tier. So, front or top left and bottom right. Zamasu. Honestly, just allowing to restore the Master's HP by 30% and make it so his defense and speed don't go to 0 when he's placed alone on the field, but still gain the attack buff fixed. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Fuse Zamasu is the epitome, for me, of figures with potential that got absolutely screwed over by the developers. So, 100% agree with that. Although, maybe giving him a bit too much of a buff by not taking anything away. Maybe take away his defense, I don't know. Don't take away the speed, though. Just take away the defense, make the defense 0 for the turn or something. Just to make it a bit more fair. Right, Berta. Okay, so we have the rest of the Ginyu Force by the looks of it. Place on a trigger square to attack both opponents in a column and increase speed to max when going first. Gain 250 to all stats. Repeatable, and an additional 500 to all stats when Ginyu is on the field, stacked during that turn only. Okay, I like it. He's good, very speedy in that one. That seems very themed. Place a trigger square to attack both opponents in a column and increase speed to 99999 when that going first. Yeah, that all makes sense. I can fully get behind this Berta figure. It all makes sense. The posing skill, sort of everything to do with it, goes with the character, which is a big thing for me, sort of theming the skills around the character. So yeah, I'll agree with that. Top right and bottom left. Alright, another Golden Frieza. We kind of do need another really good UR one. The R figure is great, but, you know, we need another UR figure. So, placing on trigger square for 500 to own speed and minus 10% to attack, defense, and speed to all opponents on the field. Repeatable. Place alone for 2000 defense to master and attack opponents in the back row. Top right, top left. I think you've gone a bit overboard here, Tempest. This is obviously meant to limit break out of the R figure, as that's where he gets that part of his ability from. Like I say, I just think you're getting a bit too much for your money there. Also, what is the point of this one? It has a little more HP, but it's so fast that it can't go in a second deck. This one is good. This one is eh. Yeah, this seems really crazy. Although, I don't think you'd actually use this half of his ability. Would you? In all honesty, because he doesn't have the stats to really sort of take most benefit from it, so... I don't know, I'm kind of undecided on it. In a way he seems good, but in a way he seems a bit meh, really, for a UR when you think of what the R figure does. I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence with that Golden Frieza. Let's go to the next one. Frieza 100% power. Place on a trigger square for minus 350 to all stats and plus 10% to damage taken. When hit with a fatal attack, so when it will be knocked out, strikes with a targeted ultimate attack, hitting only the figure that downed it. Front middle. Hunched over, looking up, smiling. Okay, that's kind of creepy. Right. Minus 350 to all stats and 10% to damage taken. So he's a one-hit wonder, isn't he? He's your glass cannon, because as soon as he's... Then again, it's only if you place him on a trigger square. That's something that we need to remember. Now, if we don't place him on a trigger square, then you can use this version certainly as a very good tank, because he's only a front middle. So your other two slots could easily sort of house him until you need him to kill something, in which case you move him to his center square. There's actually potential for that Frieza to be one of the best figures that doesn't use its trigger square until it dies. That could be quite interesting. I kind of like that. Whis, okay, we need new Angel figures, to be fair. We've only got the one version of each, and let's be honest, it's a bit boring seeing them. The end of his advanced. Let's see. Unleashed power. Place on the trigger square to reduce own damage taken by 20%. Increase own damage dealt by 20%, and a 30% chance of taking no damage. Really? Yeah. Reduce own damage taken by 20%. Okay, so it's not a team. It's not a team boost thing, but a 30% chance of taking no damage? That seems a bit ridiculous. Because that's not even if he's on his own. That's just a 30% chance full stop. And even if you do hit him, it's reduced by 20%. And with those stats, it's not going to be too easy to kill him. Same trigger square as the other Whis. I'm not too sure about this one, Free Tempest, in all honesty. I'm trying to discount the stats as much as I can, really, because I'm not really an expert on doing the stats from right now. I'd certainly say this one is obviously the better figure, because I think you can get the most out of his opposing skill with it. You can with this as well, particularly his damage dealt, but that's not really a factor when you've only got that sort of defense and HP. Not sure about this. Seems a little too good. Certainly with this bit added on. We've got enough RNG in this game. I don't think we need another thing that adds it in. That's just a personal opinion though. So tell me what you think below, guys. Same for all of this. So it's completely sort of opinions, so give me yours below. Vados, she's got the same trigger square. Place on trigger square to attack one random opponent on the field. Place after turn 3 to attack 2 random opponents on the field. If only one opponent is placed, also attack the master. She does not seem that great. Mediocre stats. An okay ability, I suppose. Especially after turn 3, I guess. But so many games are decided kind of by turn 3, really. Sort of by what's died in the first couple of turns, that having turn 3 abilities can be a bit of a risk. If only one opponent is placed, also attack the master. Interesting. I will say that. It's an interesting concept, but I don't think it's going to force its way into the meta if this were to be made, because I just don't think her stats really complement her posing skill well enough. Right, Champa. Okay, Gods of Destruction, that's another one we need new figures for. So place on a trigger square for 250 to all stats repeatable, and 1.5 to own attack when HP drops below 50%. That's Perfect Cell's ability right there, I believe. Additionally, place when Beers, I presume you mean Beerus, is on the field for 1000 to own attack. Again, is that both my opponent or me? I mean, to be honest, with this ability, you'd run Beerus with him anyway, but if my opponent is running Beerus, and my Beerus is dead, say, would this still proc? I'm just curious. Let's see. His stats seem pretty good. Getting below that 50% threshold is obviously a big deal, because you're going from 7,200, you're getting another 3,600 attack onto that. So that's pretty damn tasty. Definitely could see him getting into teams quite easily, both figures. He's quick on this one, got decent HP. Yes, his defense isn't great, but that should help him get below the 50% threshold. Front middle, just like his current figure is. Something I've always found interesting, actually. Bit off topic here, but Whis and Beerus go on opposite sides on their trigger square. So he's top left, Beerus was top right. Why was it not made so that Champa would be top left? I just always found that a bit weird, that they didn't make him complement Beerus the same way that Vados complements Whis. Just a bit weird. Alright, Nova Shenron. Now we're getting into some interesting territory. Opposing skill, Sun-Soaked Dragon. Place on a trigger square for 200 defense to all opponents, minus 200 defense to all opponents, and forces attacked opponents to change position at the end of the turn. Repeatable. Right. Not sure about that ability. The posing skill itself is fine. I just don't think it really complements Nova Shenron's character. Again, this is me going based on themed on the character. Nova Shenron was an extremely quick opponent. He was quicker than Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. So I feel like speed should have been one of the main components in him personally, especially because he doesn't really have a particularly quick figure out of the two either. Nova, I just remember Nova being complimented for his speed, and I just feel like that's not really taking advantage of it. Decent ability. I don't mind his posing skills at all. I think they're quite they're solid, but not sure if it applies to him, and I'm not sure if it's quite good enough. Forcing attacked opponents to change position is a good ability to have, but not the best. Like I say, I think he should have something more to do with speed, but top left, bottom right. Again, the problem with that as well is you're competing with things like the Vegito figures, Blue Vegeta, and quite a few others that rely on those trigger squares as well, so I don't know, not for me personally, but not a bad figure. Ice Shenron, right. Place on a trigger square for minus 300 speed to all opponents on the field and prevents attacked opponents from switching until the end of the turn. Okay, so he's sort of, in a way, the antithesis of Nova, which makes sense to a degree. I personally, for him, this is, again, it's personal opinion. This is all it is. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that Tempest is right or he's wrong or anything like that. It's just personal opinion. I think like Shenron's ability should have been a reference to what he says in GT, which is it cuts his strength in half, and I'd have had his posing skill be he cuts the opponent's attack in half for the next turn, or for his next attack, say. That just seems, again, I use the theme of the character a bit more than probably some other people would do. Another interesting ability though, but again seems a little weak. His trigger squares go the opposite of Nova. I get that, but I feel like Ice's trigger squares should both have been in the back. In fact, I think it should have been all three back ones, because he was quite a cowardly character, so it makes sense that he hides behind others. Like I say, me using a combination of theme and mechanics of the game. But like I say, good posing skill regardless. Needs a little buffing. I think maybe onto 500 on the speed. Decent stats, but I mean, I don't know if either of them are particularly sort of powerful. I don't know. That's my personal opinion, anyway. Ribrian, someone who desperately does need a good figure. Place on a trigger square for 350 to all stats and attack one random opponent on the field. Additionally, gain 10% to ultimate attack damage at the end of the turn. Repeatable. Okay. Interesting. Ribrian does need a better figure, as I said. Her current problem is that they tried to make her do about 3 or 4 different things with her opposing skill, and she just doesn't do any of them particularly well. 350 to all stats. That's not too bad. That's actually quite similar, a little bit similar to what I was expecting her figure to actually have that we got. That starts off with such high speed. Well, no, it starts off with 4,000 attack and it barely goes above that, does it? That's sort of what I was expecting her to look like. Not bad. I don't know if this really helps her too much. There's already a lot of other figures that ult better than her. Top right, bottom left, so that's her current figures. Trigger squares as well. I would maybe attack one random opponent on the field. I don't like random chance abilities in there. It throws things into chaos a bit more. I mean, we've already got Toa and everything else, but could be interesting. But it's again taking a little bit more skill out of it, because you could have just luckily hit that one figure in the back line that would be the big problem causer. So I'm not sure if I agree with attacking random opponents like that, same as in Vados' one. But I certainly like her stat spreads a bit more, and I don't know who for for her posing skill. I like that she buffs her stats up. I think sort of buffing herself is more of a priority rather than what they tried to make her current figure do. I just don't think that the second half of her posing skill is... Not that it's not good, I just don't think it's... that part certainly isn't good for the game, I don't think, and that part just... there's better ultimate users, plus she doesn't even trigger on the middle, so... Again, my opinion, and I do once again want to say how much I do respect Free Tempest's opinion. Some of his stuff has been really good. Better than probably what I'd have come up with, but anyway, carrying on. LR figures. These figures are designed to be a tier above UR and extremely difficult to obtain. They are unusable in ranked match. In order to obtain them, various challenges must be completed. These challenges are not fully thought out, but would include things like being at master level 99, possess both versions of UR equivalent at 99, win 5 ranked matches in a row, earn 5,000 FP, complete the figure collection 70% or more, purchase all character skills, possess 99 or all T-chips. Okay, so LR figures, this is more of a reference to Dokkan again, which the Hero Colosseum could learn a lot from. There are a lot of things in Dokkan that I would love to see in Hero Colosseum, and LR figures are certainly one of them. So let's look at number 1. Half-corrupted Zamasu. Okay. Stats. Oh. Stats seem pretty... okay, I suppose. Let's see. Immortal God. Place on a trigger square for 500 to own speed, attack both opponents in the column, and 20% to own damage taken. Repeatable. Additionally, place a loan for 2,000 Master's defense and restore 30% of own and Master's HP at the end of the turn, but cannot be switched out until the end of the next turn. It doesn't really seem that good. Especially if we're using the merged Zamasu, sort of the change Zamasu, who's already got sort of that part and buffs his own speed. So you've thrown Kid's Boo's ability in there, and thrown Jiren's defense buff to the master in it. I'm not too sure about this half-corrupted Zamasu. He doesn't really seem that good for an LR. For a UR, he seems to fit in, but for the LR category, I don't know. I would have thought an LR would have had... I suppose this version is a bit crazy, with high HP, high attack, or high-ish attack, and good speed, but I'm not sure about this merged Zamasu. Alright, Demon God Demigra. Place on a trigger square to attack all opponents in the back row. Place on or after turn 3 to attack all opponents on the field. For every opponent defeated, plus 500 to all stats. Additionally, swaps the HP and attack of one random figure. Repeatable. Okay, so Demon God Demigra. Okay, stats. I like everything about him up to this point. I think that's a great ability to attack all opponents on the field. Plus 500 to his stats if he hits them. Especially if this is not ranked stuff. This is just they're unusable in rank, so you can use them in player match and in the free battles, which is alright. Additionally, swaps the HP and attack of one random figure. That is more of a debilitating ability, I think, than a boost. Bear in mind, a lot of figures... The thing that makes Toa so dangerous is that the things with high attack usually have shit speed. And giving them a huge speed stat doesn't help them. Whereas, if you swap UI Goku's attack and HP, yes, he doesn't hit very hard anymore, but he still has over 11,000 HP. So, he's still usable. I don't know if swapping the HP and attack is the right course, in all honesty. But I do like the rest of him prior to that. He triggers on... Is that back left? Yeah, back left. Okay. Mira, Final Form. Another person we really do need a figure for. Wow, that HP is insane. 10,000 HP. Although that's still nothing near Santa 18, is it? Now, let's see. Shuffle's own stats. Oh dear, all of them. Randomly. Also, 500 to speed when going first. 700 to attack when going second. 500 to own defense. That figure epitomizes all that's wrong with the hero Colosseum. That is so ridiculous to randomize all of his stats like that. Like, throwing his HP into the mix as well. If it was just these three stats, then, I mean, it would still be pretty horrible, but throwing his HP into there as well, no, I don't like how much that's random. That breaks the game a bit too much in terms of randomness. I like that he's got a good HP stat. I do like that, and it has a decent attack stat, but no, I don't like that ability at all. I'm not sure what I'd go for instead. No, I'm not a fan of that, personally. Item inventions, okay. Down ET, ADM down every turn, and ADM up every turn, so it will be a 3% boost or a 3%, a minus 3% off your opponents. That's quite interesting, but I don't see them getting put in ahead of UTG down stuff or just self-buffing. It's not significant enough, I don't think. ADM up O2, yeah, that makes sense. We need it. An O2 ADM skill's fine with me. Which does 15% of damage dealt for you and one other figure on the field in place with one other figure. That's fine. No problems with that. DDM down, DDM up. Oh god, what the hell? ST? I mean, that's ET. Presumably, I have no idea. Same turn every. I don't know. I'll pass on them. Tempest will probably tell me in the comments, so I'll leave a reply in there to that. Okay, game modes. This is something that I've been sort of got quite a list of things that I do. So, expansion mode allows you to play with more figures and expands the board accordingly. 7 figures, 2 rows of 4 figures on the field, 2 rows of 5 figures on the field, 3 rows of 6 figures on the field for each of them. That's fine. I think, though, that if you're going to have them, you need to buff the master HP. Just to make sure that you've got enough to survive, because there's a lot of space on a board that size, especially when you're throwing down that many figures. It can be very easy to get one shot. So, I think buffing the master HP accordingly for each of them, maybe adding an extra 5,000 master HP on for each of them, just to make sure that you don't get one shot like that. But that sounds fine with me. Planet Conquer mode. Instead of playing on a small game board, a planet's broken up into a grid. For a player to win the match, they must either defeat all enemy figures or defeat the enemy's master. Each player has 10 figures. Stats work differently here. Speed determines how many squares each figure can move. Figures can be kept in the same spot if the player chooses. All figures must be in use on the planet at all times. Sounds a bit like a combination of Risk and Galactic Conquest from Star Wars Battleground. Or Battlefield. Battlefront. God damn it. That's interesting. I like that. It's more strategy, and it's using the figures in a different way as well, so I like that Planet Conquer mode. Master Fight mode. In this mode, the player's master can get in on the action. Hello. Getting in on the action, okay. And battle either the opponent's master or attack the opponent's figures. The master's stats can be customized in a limited way. Attack focused, defense focused, balanced. And the player decides which column the master will attack, or if they will go after the opponent's master. Attacking an open column will result in attacking the opponent's master. Attacking with the master is optional. Doing so disables one random figure from attacking that turn. Like you previously stated, a mode where certain figures are banned would be nice change of pace and encourage unique or at least different teams and figures to be used. Your Master Fight mode sounds quite interesting. I'd certainly like to see Pepper going down and kicking the shit out of people, so I could get behind that. And yeah, mentioning this, I have spoken many times before about banning. Much like MOBAs, you basically have a banning phase and you ban out certain figures. Each side gets, say, 3 bans. And before anybody says, the same figures will get banned, isn't that the point? You ban out the powerful figures and then you have to try and use other figures to compensate for that. I think a banning phase in ranked, certainly, would change things up. And until then, you're just going to see Vados decks or Videl decks And that's the end of it. Well, that was quite an interesting read, although I will say I didn't see a Jace. Did I? Let's go back. Fuse Zamasu, Gohan, Piccolo, Nail, Tapion, Ginyu, Raccoon, Nappa. Where's Berta gone? Berta is there. Golden Frieza. No Jace or Guldo. Okay, so we've got 3 of the Ginyu Force. Ginyu Force team would be viable looking at this. There were some good figures here. Some very good figures. Some figures I didn't agree with, and some interesting game modes suggested. So, shout out to Tempest. If any of you have ideas of your own that you'd like to see me react to give my opinion on, then my email address is it's on my about page, I think, on YouTube, but I'll leave it in the comments below. Feel free to send me lists with any ideas you have for how you'd improve the Hero Colosseum. I will have my own videos coming out in the future saying what I do, so I look forward to that. But thank you again. Shout out once again to Free Tempest. Like I say, good friend of mine. I have a lot of respect for the guy. Great player. And I've had a lot of good fun games against him. And big thanks to him for sending me this and for giving me his permission to make a video out of it. So thank you once again, Free Tempest, and thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any opinions you have on this in the comments below. I will say, any disrespect shown towards Free Tempest over this, I will remove your comment. That is not what I want to see here. But I will say, debate on certain things if you don't agree with them, or agree if you do. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit that like button and subscribe for more of my Hero Colosseum videos. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notifications when I upload. And I'll see you all next time.